Hey folks, it's Andy with NutHouse Industries. Out here in the shop today to take a walk around and look at this 2012 JKU that we've had here for a little while now. It came in for a little spruce up. Well, it turned into a multi-year project. And at the end of the day, it's probably the biggest build we've done to date as far as what you can do with a Jeep. So we're going to start right here on the outside, right at the front. This Jeep, it utilized a lot of GenRight product. So that's kind of the theme of this Jeep. It was very dialed into kind of the original Terremoto that was built for Tony Pellegrino. Right up here, we start with their front bumper. This is their high clearance one. As you can tell, it has the rear lower section cut away, and you have that super high clearance. It's outfitted with a nice complement of Baja Designs lights. We use a few different manufacturers. This so happens this client, this is our third build for him, and everything we've done has always been Baja Designs. So very nice amber lensed ones. They're all controlled through the S-Pod, which you'll see that later. It's all tied into the Jeep really nicely. Coming right around the side, we have the GenRight fenders. These are the mid-width ones. They're all aluminum. All this exterior stuff you'll see has all been powder-coated aluminum with the exception of the rash rails, which are powder-coated black as well, but they are actually steel for strength and durability. Because this Jeep, as nice as it is, it will see rocks, it will see the woods. But you can see their inner fender here. We did have to do some work to that to modify it quite a bit to get the reservoirs and the coilover to fit and still have as much coverage as we could out of the fenders. We changed the reservoir mounts on that because the factory ones just didn't really allow for where we really wanted to place that reservoir. Coming right down the sides here, you can see their rock rails and their side guards. Again, when I talked about this is the steel portion, the rash rail, all of this and all that is aluminum. So very nice, clean detail, gives it a boat side without really having to boat side the Jeep itself. So you have that nice clearance from the frame up. Really complements that flat belly pan underneath. So you have just a really super smooth, snag-free bottom. On the side here, you can see the half doors. Nothing sexier than the half doors on the JK. This was originally a full door Jeep. It had the full B pillar here that we did cut and remove. You can see that in the detail here where it matches and follows all the lines. This customer, he did originally think we were going to do tops on it. We aborted that and he just went with the flat roof. So the doors themselves, a couple things we did to those a little different. These never came from the factory, the electric locks or power heated mirrors. So we added harnesses, power heated mirrors, and also electric locks so that you can unlock the passenger door when you have somebody with you. Makes it very convenient. Grafted the switch right into the door panel very nicely. Works with the dome lights. Everything's integrated that way with no real loss of function, which is super hard to do, but at the end of the day, it just adds to that detail that this customer was really looking for on this rig. Wheels and tires are Innovate wheels. They're a USA company. They're forged aluminum. They're 5 on 5.5 with 5/8 inch studs, which is super strong. I know we've seen a few pictures. People like, where's the 8-lug wheels? Not needed with their wheels. It took quite a bit of work to get the front Curry axle and locking hub combination to get all that right so that everything fit. But at the end of the day, gorgeous wheel, American made, as nice as you could have a wheel. On the back corners here, you can see complementary fenders to the front. We also did the steel corners with the recessed tail light. The inner fenders on these typical GenRight build, they do not do an inner fender because of the coilover shock tower that's Frenched into the frame. This became a 5-piece inner rear fender, which is pretty intense for one fender liner, but it's the only way to actually make everything clear, fit, and cover up, and not have any appearance in through the coilover tower to see into the tub, because as you'll see in the back here, we had to cover those with some fabricated covers to not have that protruding in the vehicle, allow water, mud, things like that to come in. They have to be Frenched in with this coilover system so that it works properly. The ones that are outboarded just do not get the right leverage points. So that's part of that kit as well to sink that in. Coming around to the rear here, you'll see the GenRight bumper has the GenRight backup lights in it. Same thing here, it's an aluminum bumper with these steel rash rails, again, all powder coated black. You'll see the flushed in max built tail lights. Really nice look, very clean, very functional light as well. You can see that we've integrated their tire carrier from GenRight as well. Again, this is an aluminum tire carrier. We've welded these directly to, so there's a combination. This is steel tabs rather than the plate that they come with. So it just gives you a cleaner look there versus the bolt-on plate that's aluminum. So you just pull the pins, swing the tire carrier out, and you have full access to the tub. In the back, you'll see where we did the coilover covers, the Line-X material that we completely coated the entire interior of the tub. The wiring harnesses that you would normally see in the back of a Jeep Wrangler have all been rerouted and underneath. They're no longer laying in there. The tailgate harness is tucked in through a nice grommet. It's taken care of and completely no wires to snag on or to deal with dirt or chafing or whatever. One of the requests from the customer, you can see along the top there, was the rugged radio system, the little Rance navigation system, and a Baja Designs race light. He also wanted that race light to function with the factory tail lamps. Not normal. Most of those race lights are on toggle switches on a race buggy, but this one, as you'll see in a little video there, it is fully integrated to work with the factory turn signals, brake lights, running lights. But that was a very unique tie-in, not a normal thing that you would see on an everyday build. The speakers you see are JL Audio. We'll talk about that on the interior. It has a very nice audio system because the Jeep is loud. It's pleasant to drive, but it is open air, and it has a very healthy sounding LS3 under the hood, which we'll talk about. And the stereo overcomes that very nicely. So speaking of that healthy engine under the hood, this Jeep did come to us with an LS swap already in it. It was done approximately 12 years ago. So we worked with Overland Performance to get the latest system from them, and we swapped all that out. In that process, because this Jeep is kind of unique, as some things that they don't typically do, they don't offer a dual battery system with that performance setup. So we did accomplish that with a Genesis off-road system that's modified, a lot of independently mounted circuit breakers and fuses, because a lot of power requirements between the stereo, the onboard air, the navigation system, the amplifier, the rugged radio stuff, all those require their own dedicated circuits. So it is a very nice performing Jeep. 0-60 times will put smiles on your face. With the 6L80, it doesn't turn a lot of RPM. You're rolling down the highway, you're turning about 1900 to 2000 RPM, even with the 538 gears. So that side of it, it's just an awesome performer from a motor standpoint. All right, let's take a look under this thing and see what we've done with that GenRight suspension. Starting right here at the front, you can see the Curry Rock Jock 70 with the GenRight steering with all the high knuckle conversions. This is fully drooped out right now. When it's down on the ground later, we'll see some shots how flat the track bar, all that is. When this suspension's done, there's no bump steer, there's no diving with the front end. I mean, it really is a phenomenal suspension. Some of the details you can see we did, there's the hydro assist, you got the wrap lines all wrapped up in there so you get the full movement. The brake lines we've dropped here to the center of the axle and brought those out to the brakes themselves. That way you don't have that big, long, gangly brake line hanging out there like you do on most Jeeps and end up becoming a problem once you catch a log or a tree branch or something like that. Of course, the limit straps kind of hide the wheel speed sensors. Still need those because this Jeep has full ABS and everything all intact. It's not been turned off or taken away. We're able to keep that functioning for you. You can kind of see some of the things they do with the GenRight. They move the track bar 2 inches forward. That gives you a little more wheelbase. They drop it quite a bit. They also raise this mount here, again, to get all that steering flattened out on this front end. We'll go underneath here and take a look at the suspension itself and the arms. You can see it is a 3-link suspension, so you have one upper control arm. You can do that because we have the nice track bar up front that will keep this axle centered and give you maximum articulation. You'll see this on the ramp a little later in the video with how much just crazy amounts of travel the front end and the rear end as well has. You can see the back of that Curry now, the big Alcon brakes. We did the armadillo skid plates on the bottom of the differential. That's a GenRight option. You actually weld those up and build them. Everything you see has been powder coated. This thing was broken down into many parts and it became, all the fabrication got done, then it went out for powder coat and got reassembled. The axles are the only thing we actually painted because we know they'll take quite a bit of abuse off-road and want to be able to be touched up quite a bit. You can see the new drive shafts in here. All those had to be changed out. You can see the custom exhaust work. We had a local shop do that for us. It's something we don't fab in-house. It's 100% stainless steel. It is an amazing, for as short as it is, it's just a few feet of exhaust because of the small area we have to work with because of the rear suspension. He was able to twist these tubes around and get equal length tubes, so it sounds phenomenal. It's a very nice tone on the, with it, you'll see later the open top. It really turned out well. The customer drove it about a week ago. He was amazed because this had the LS in it when we had it brought in, but had an unequal length exhaust and it just made a lot of racket. So beautiful work there, really excited about that. This is an LS3, you can kind of see the bottom of it here. We did pair that with a 6L80. I know GenRight normally uses the 4 series transmission due to size constrictions. We also use the Atlas transfer case from Advanced Adapters. It's a 3-to-1 case so that he gets good gearing because the axles are geared at 538. But this cross member was what GenRight sends out, but it does not work with a 6L80, so it is fully customized and modified to be able to get the bracket in there. And you'll see a good pic of this. We'll pop in here with the flat belly skid that goes on this. It's 70-75 aluminum, full flat, nothing hangs below it. T-case is clocked all the way up, evap canister, exhaust, everything is tucked up to where you got nothing in the middle to drag on. We'll move back here to the rear and kind of take a look at this suspension. The rear is actually a fully triangulated 4-link suspension. What that allows for is that maximum articulation with maximum axle control. But the way they do that is typically in a JK platform, you have the large gas tank right here. That completely eliminates any type of triangulation. It just doesn't, it can't happen. There's no physical way to do it well. You have to end up having a track bar which constricts that rear suspension. So what they do is they provide a gas tank that you can see here in the back and you relocate it to the rear like a traditional CJ, YJ, TJ scenario. It's a 36-gallon tank, steel skid, aluminum tank, uses the OEM fuel pump. So it integrates really well with the emissions system, with the evap stuff, all the sensors, the fuel gauge, all those things read just like it did from the factory. And that allows us to get in this new cross member that you can see across here that's welded in. So you can tell the crisscross of the arms there, how much triangulation they really get out of this thing. And it controls the anti-squat. As you can see on the rear here, we have the armadillo skid on it as well. Pretty cool feature for them. Again, comes in a bunch of parts. We welded it all up. It all got powder coated and bolted back on. You can see the Alcon brakes again on the rear. Same thing with the brake lines. They're all dropped down on the center link. And as you go out on the sides there, they're hard lined out to a small, short, soft line. So those stay well where they need to be. Drive shafts, again, new 1350 drive shafts to deal with the horsepower of the LS and the deep gearing. Both of these Curry axles have 538 gears in them and Allburn electric lockers. The owner chose that for ease of operation. It did help clean things up a little bit with the onboard air system as well. We didn't have the ARB solenoids, things like that to deal with. All right, so we're inside the Jeep here. Let's take a look around. It's very nicely appointed, very race buggy looking with very refined interior. Customer chose these Mastercraft Baja RS seats because they do recline. They do have lumbar support in them, and they also have heated pads in the rear of the back of the seat and the bottom of the seat. So very comfortable seat. You can see the Impact Racing harnesses, 5-point harnesses. So it's full race ready as far as that goes. The cage, you can see is GenRight's cage in here. We saw outside how we flattened the top of it so that you have this one metal roof here. Very clean looking from the outside, kept the Jeep profile down quite a bit. And we kind of tweaked a lot of little things, the handles, a lot of little pieces and parts of the cage. We actually lowered the rear seats a couple of inches more than they normally sit because the customer did not like the stadium seating look. So that was something that got changed out. The back seats are crowded, but I have sat back there. So surprisingly, I wouldn't ride back there all day, but you can definitely run out for dinner or something like that after a day on the trail if you want to take your friends with you or go grab some ice cream. In the console here, lots of stuff going on. So he had the twin stick Atlas. So that was something to incorporate. I'm a big fan of cutting brakes for manipulation in the rocks. They work really well. We had to overcome the e-brake issue with a series of line locks on their two rear wheels because with the long travel suspension, the cables they go crazy and there's no good way to manage them. So we incorporated these line locks. So we just started with a semi-custom console that we found that was basically a blank canvas. And as you can see, we cut in the twin sticks, we cut in the factory shifter stayed, even with the LS swap, it was able to stay there. You can see the left-right line locks, the left-right cutting brakes. The S-Pod is there as well. These big red buttons are your push-to-talk buttons for the rugged radio race headsets, so you can talk to your buddy while you're blasting across the Baja. And so very nice integration, tons of stuff going on in this console. Just the plumbing alone for the brakes to have the line locks, the cut and brakes, all that. This is just literally filled up. I did add a small fuse panel to the back that's weatherproof just to maintain power to all these things. For navigation, this customer loves the Lowrance. It's his favorite piece. He uses them on all of his buggies that he has, the side-by-sides, so we incorporated that. While we had it apart, he decided some better tunes were in order. We spoke about the JL audio speakers. There's a JL audio amp underneath the passenger seat that I'm sitting here in. Very clean, very nice sound. We added a couple of JBL subwoofers under the rear seat and this big Alpine head unit that controls it all. We integrated his little gauges for the LS series right into the vents, which they still function. This Jeep still has heat, air conditioning, all the conveniences that it had before. It's just has the LS power plant in there. So all the stereo controls work from the steering wheel. We added an air compressor for airing up, airing down underneath the driver's seat, because obviously we ran out of room under the hood. And that's a clean spot for it to be a very standalone unit. Pop the chuck in there and fill up your tires as needed. We'll give it a little turn over here just to make a little excitement. Nice little cold start on an LS, everybody loves that. So you can see it is a very capable buggy, but at the end of the day, inside you're as comfortable as you were, maybe even more so than what it was before, just simply because the seats are much more supportive than the factory seats. Added a mirror up here that clamps to the cage. Aftermarket dome light, it's wired to those half doors that we have all the integrated locks in, so it works, again, integrating everything to work just like it did, instead of you get your buggy back and, oh, it drives great and it'll wheel, but I don't have this, I don't have lights, I don't have brake lights. All those things that happen when people get highly modified vehicles. We take that extra time to make sure that at the end of the day, it works like it did when you dropped it off, and you have all these new integrated performance features, but you didn't lose any of the comfort features. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for watching this. I know it's a long one. There's a lot of detail to it. If you got any questions, anything we can help you with, www.NutHouseIndustries.com. Hit us on Facebook. Give us a call, whatever it takes, email, whatever's the best communication for you.